so I can go a little longer and answer these questions. So let me catch up to where I was. He wants to see the game code. I've been putting him off so much. Alright, so we've been looking at relatively simple code. I'm going to show you some terrible, terrible global variables. This is the first game engine that I completed. I'm getting compile errors because when I wrote this it was for Java 7 and my development is Java 8 now, so it's going to give me a lot of errors. Yeah, let's look at this one. Okay, here's all my imports. We're not even at the code yet. We're just importing stuff. And then you know what? I'm going to make the text smaller so we can see all the code on the screen. So we're going to make the text smaller. Let's over here. Oh man, come on. We're going to go to 18. It'll be a little harder to see, but it'll be fine. Here we go. These are what we call global variables. You should not do this. This isn't even code. This is just things that my main method or my main class is going to use. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. I can switch the JDK, yeah, but I think I'm also missing libraries. This JME3, this is JMonkey Engine, and I just reinstalled this because something was corrupt. So I don't actually have all this stuff imported. That's why it's giving me all these errors. Normally it would run. I can run it from binary, don't worry. I'll run it. I'm trying to catch up to chat. You guys are getting too long. Actually, you know what? I have it on my other... which one? Not that one. This one. I'm going to put chat on the screen because it's getting kind of long. This one? I think it's that one. We're going to do a subregion. We're going to select our subregion. It's going to be like this. It's going to be like that. This is going to come down here so we don't have to see all the ugly Twitch gray. It's going to go over there. Okay, that looks good enough. And then we're going to hit OK. We're going to see how dumb it looks. Okay, I'm not even going to chroma key this yet. I'm just going to kind of hide it right up here. That's right, live editing. Actually, I think, no, I'll leave it like that. That's fine. How easy is that to see? I guess that's okay. All right, let me catch up with all this chat now. He wanted to look at some code. This is a client. This is a game client. This isn't even the game code. This is just the program that displays stuff on the screen. And we're getting into the thousands of in-my-line numbers. Into the thousands. There's a lot of code. This project that we're looking at is 28,000 lines total that I wrote or copied. There's some copied code in here, not too much. Where is the most complicated code that I have? I don't actually know. It's probably in the draft server. Has some complex math. Whoops. Has some complex math. He wanted to see some code. He's going to see some code. All right, so this is AJ's calling me. Okay, you guys need to listen to my student. AJ. Verdant. Plug in your mic. Make your mic work. Okay, we're going to give him a second. AJ, you're live on my How to Program stream. Anyway,
What?
so there he is. All right, so this code that we're looking at right now, this is a game engine for Magic the Gathering. You might have heard of like Magic Online or Duels of the Planeswalkers or Forge. This is one of those. It's a Magic game. It's a Magic rules engine and client. The particular code we're looking at is when you're doing a draft, rather than having the players build their decks, I build it for them based on their most popular colors. So this thing, create deck, that's what this entire method does. This entire method just counts all the colors. Whoops, I scrolled down too much. It counts all the cards in their deck, finds out what colors they are, and then it does some fancy pants math to determine how many lands of each type they would get. This whole method is just building them a deck using some mediocre complex math. So you've seen some code from a game. You can see some optimizations. Let me see if I can find some optimizations up here. Yes, this method used to be slow. Actually, I'll tell you a cool story about this game. Actually, I'll try to remember. In fact, let me bring up a notepad so I don't forget. That's going to go in front of there, which is not where I want it. Are you on my stream, AJ? Are you like paying attention? He probably went to get a drink. Anyway, so I will get to your optimized code question in a second. Yeah, I will type the link to my channel. Okay. There you go. All right, I'll get to all of your questions. I'm just going down. If you like to do Python and like to do web development, do Django. I have not actually learned Django. I've heard of it. My company, it's on our technology radar. They show you how to use GameMaker. I think he had to go, but he's already programming for Java 6. Yeah, Java 6 is kind of old. Java 7 is what's out now. Java 8 just came out last month, I think. Java 9 is about a year and a half away. Have I optimized my game completely? Language and then do backend. Should Agar Gino asks, should I learn a language and then do backend, or should I learn backend and the language at the same time? I can tell you this from personal experience. When I got the job that I currently have, Java, I didn't know. Java was my main language, and I didn't really use anything else. I knew some other ones, but I mostly used Java for my home projects. When I got the job, like I interviewed and they said, how much have you used JavaScript? And I said, I've used it a little bit. How much have you used C? I've used it a little bit. So I had to learn JavaScript at my job, like at a much higher level than I already knew it. So I would say don't focus too much on learning a language in anticipation that you will have to use it. I would say learn a little bit of each language, like the basics of each language, just so that in a job interview you can answer questions. And then if you need to use the language, if you know one, you can learn any of them, to be honest. If you know Java, you can learn C very quickly. If you know Java, you can learn JavaScript very quickly, right? Yeah, that's what I would say. Just, the more important thing is to flex your brain muscle, okay? The most important thing is to just do practice projects. Just make stuff. Make a game. I made this game, this magic program. Actually, let me run the binaries so you see what it looks like. This is the launcher again. It's gonna do this. I'll just hit start game. I don't really care. And I will, that's kind of a low resolution. I'll do this one and hope it fits on the screen. It looks like it will. I'm gonna move it over so you guys can see it. We're gonna go over here. As soon as it loads, we're gonna go over here. Okay. Oh, the server's not up, that's why it's not responding. If the server were up, you'd see some cards over here. That would be my deck, and I could draw cards from the deck. But this is the engine. You can move around the tabletop, zoom in and out. These buttons do things when the server is running. Yeah, you know what? I'll run the server, just so you guys can see. The regular server. It's a bunch of output. We do that one. Okay, server's up. Hopefully this will work. I haven't tested this since I got my new IP address, so we'll see. Uh-oh. Apparently Java has failed. Nope, works fine. So I'll hit start game, and it's going to draw me all these cards, and I can see what they do, and I can, I can play them. Let me just go through each turn. Maybe I'll get to play a spell or something. Yeah, I'll play a pack rat. Whoops, no I won't. Oh. If you don't understand Magic, you don't have to. I just want to show you, you can do some cool stuff. Where is, I'll cast my pack rat now. So this is the Magic rules engine. It's all the art is from, well, most of the art is from Wizards. I did all of this in about a year, a little bit over a year, when I was unemployed and had nothing better to do. This is what I did. I made a game. It's an existing game design, so I can't sell it, unfortunately. I can't make any money off of this. But, it was fun, and it was challenging, and when I went to apply to jobs, I showed them this, and they said, oh, that's pretty impressive. And that's one of the reasons why I got the job that I currently have, is because I was practicing. I was doing something with my free time. Let me go back up here. Did I optimize? I'll answer a Gamer Coder's question now. Did I optimize the program completely? No. There are still things. There are still things in the game that are kind of slow. But this is not my primary project right now. When I have free time, I work on it. But I just I don't really have that much free time to work on it, especially since I'm working on a different game now with AJ. Right, AJ?
Yes.
He says yes, but his brain means no. All right. So anyway, he's learning too. I'll close that now. I'll tell you a funny story, Gamer Coder. I don't know how much you know about Magic the Gathering, but there's these things called replacement effects, where some cards might say something like, if you would gain life, gain twice that much life instead. That's a replacement effect. When I was first testing them, they were not optimized in the slightest. If you had, what's this? Yeah, whatever, I don't care. If you had, oh, the server's probably derping. I'll just close it. If you had like 5 replacement effects active and you tried to gain life, it would take like 45 seconds to do it. It was really slow. Sorry, I need a drink. I've been talking all night. I apologize. It used to be really slow, like 30, 45 seconds to do a bunch of replacement effects, but now it's under 1 second. So there's a lot of things that I've optimized, but there are still some things that are kind of on my list. None of them really break anything, but you know, I'll fix them when I get to it. Okay, let's keep going down. Do I do pure Java, or is Spring framework we're using now? I'm not going to talk about Spring. That's all I'm going to say. I will not talk about Spring on this video, maybe in another video. Only programming language you should stay away from in the beginning is C++. That is absolutely not true. There are a lot of other terrible programming languages. I'm just kidding. C++ is not terrible, but he's right. You should not start with C++. They usually teach Java in school because it's safe, because you don't have to deal with pointers. You don't have to deal with allocating memory. Java saves you from a lot of the mistakes that you would make if you're a beginner. So that's why they teach Java a lot. Java's a good one to start with. If you're starting with scripting languages, JavaScript is fine, Ruby is fine. I haven't used that much Perl. It'd probably be okay. Python is pretty good. Even regular C would be okay to start with, but you still have to deal with pointers. But C++ is just, the way it turned out is they designed C, and then they said, we want to make C better, but we're not going to make another language. We're just going to make a different syntax that will compile down to C. So C++ basically has a lot of syntax just because they kept adding stuff to it. It's kind of where Java is heading right now. Java has a lot of syntax, a lot more than it used to have. But a lot of the syntax you won't ever use. Give an example of something you can do in backend on the web. You can do business logic stuff, database validation. If you're, if you're making you can do batch programs. If you have like different databases that need to be synchronized, you can write. That's backend stuff. You write programs that make sure your databases are all consistent. My team at work, do we use some agile development like Scrum and XP? We actually do. We use, we don't follow it strictly, but we have learned, they teach us the coding practices that Agile, particularly that XP teaches. XP is extreme programming. They make it sound exciting. We use test-driven development a lot. We're encouraged highly to write tests first. I've taught you this, AJ, right? You write tests first, and then you code to pass the tests, and that's actually very important, because then you always know your code works. And if somebody adds a feature or removes a feature or changes a feature, you still have those tests to fall back on. You know they're going to work. And if they don't, then you know not to release something, which is something that a lot of companies don't do. He learned C to understand pointers and then learned Java. After you learn C, it's easy to learn. Yes, there are some pieces of Java where it's useful to know pointers. I have definitely learned that over the years. Even though I started in Java and then I went to C, and then I came back to Java. I understand Java so much better now that I know how pointers work in C. That's definitely true. Because for those who don't know, any object you make in Java is basically a pointer. And the way that you pass objects into parameters is very much like the way you'd pass pointers into functions in C. There's definitely a lot of analogs between Java and C. Java does not give you direct access, of course, but it works on the same basis. Is there anything else anybody wanted to know? Because my voice really is running out, you can tell. Because otherwise, I'll just stop this and I will archive it.
How long have you been going?
I don't know, man. Add the previous video to this one. This video's been going for 16 minutes, and the other one probably close to an hour, I would think. That was a long time. Because I finished the thing and people just kept asking questions. This. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Java would approve of that. Do you have a way to start with tests as a beginner? Do you have a way to start with tests as a beginner? Do you mean like a way to not use JUnit? Because typically we use JUnit to write our tests. Do you by chance know why Java is hard for me? I don't know why Java is hard for you. I'm not you, but I mean, you're 13, you're just learning, right? Java's, any programming language, the first programming language is always the hardest, no matter what it is. If your first language is C, that's the hardest language. If your first language is Java, that's the hardest language. It's difficult because when we talk about languages, we're used to speaking, right? We're used to speaking languages. But once you've learned one of them and you kind of understand what's going on inside the computer, it becomes really easy to learn anything else. Gamer Coder, I still don't know what you mean by do you have a way to start with tests if you're a beginner? Really hard to write JUnits properly. Ah, I see. I should have streamed when I made you do the pass the tests exercise, AJ. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have streamed it. Basically, I had a bunch of tests that I wrote where he had to do some pretty simple things. And I said, all you have to do is pass the tests. And for some of them, he did pretty good. He passed the tests. And for other ones, he was having a hard time. What you want to do, here's how it was explained to me. And this is how it makes the most sense to me. If you know what an API is, this will make sense. An API is basically, if you have your code, your API is basically if you tell somebody else, here's my code, here's what it can do. That's basically an API. So it's all of the classes that you wrote and all of the functions that the person can use. That's your API. When you do test-driven programming, you want your tests to reflect your API. So I'm going to close these and I'll actually write maybe one test. Let's clear all this. So one of my tests might be something like test whether test that math.floor truncates the decimal number. Okay, so here's my code for this test. Normally I'd write this in its own class, but I'm just going to write it here because I'm lazy. So we're going to have like a float f equals 5.4f. And then we would say if math.floor on f equals 5.0f, which is what it should equal, then we'd return true, else return false. I think the else is redundant. Oh, I can't return because I'm in the main method. We'll do this. Pass, and then else fail. So this would be a test basically. We're basically saying when I call this, I should expect this. That's how you write your tests, and your tests should each test just one thing. Fun back-end projects you can do. Well, I don't know what you find fun. Fun back-end projects. It depends whether you're really into database stuff or not. If you're into data manipulation, find some statistics for something that you really like. Maybe it's sports or something. Just find a bunch of statistics and put them on a spreadsheet or like a CSV file and write a program to read in those statistics and analyze them, because that's back-end work. I do that a little bit for usually game statistics, but I do it for other things too. Back-end. Little projects, it's hard to get excited about little projects. You get excited about big projects like games and stuff, right? Yeah, it's hard to... I don't really... You could write some small games. I had AJ write Blackjack. He was terrible the first time. But he wrote it a second time after I kind of showed him the right way to do it. Make your own objects. Make your objects have actions. And he did it pretty well.
It worked. I just created some new cards that you'd never seen before.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I'll take the Samurai of Stars.
The 13 of Spades was,
Yeah, exactly.
was particularly broken.
The 13 is the king. So it's really the 15.5 of spades.
Yeah, that's right. We did that archery game, remember?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
Jim,
I walked you through that, yeah.
We accidentally made the playing field like 8 football fields long.
Yeah, we made a little archery game. It was basically like the simplest first-person shooter possible, where we had, it was a first-person, you could move around, we set up a target, and when you clicked, it launched a projectile. And that was the whole game. You thought I don't see back-end. If you're talking about web stuff or user interface stuff, the front end would be the view. It's what the user sees. The user sees the view. That's the front end. The back end is if they click a button, what do you do to your databases, for example, if you're in a business. That's the back end. It's dealing with where your data is stored and how it's manipulated.
You still have the universe model?
Yeah. I don't know if it's in here. Let me see if I can show them the universe. I can.
That was pretty fun.
I don't have JMonkey set up. Let me see if I can... Where is my JMonkey? Resolve project problems. JMonkey could not be found. Resolve. Oh man. Core. Is that it? JMonkey core? Sure. JME3 libraries. Oh man. I don't know if I'll be able to resolve this today. These are all over the place. Oh man. Yeah, I just reinstalled a new version of JMonkey Platform, so all my JMonkey projects will not work because I don't have the right code imported. Do you have to have a database? You don't have to have a database. You can use just your file system. You can write to files. You can, your data has to exist somewhere, right? It's hard to do back-end stuff when you don't have data, because there's nothing else to do. So you can, for instance, get the weather from an API of Yahoo. Oh, he's talking about Python, I guess. I've never used Python for data analysis. The only time I've used Python is working with game scripting languages, particularly Skyrim, Elder Scrolls. I think that uses Python. That's most of where my Python comes from, is just modding that game. Well, like I said, I would not start out with a database if you're just starting. I would start with just files. Just, save stuff in text files and load stuff from text files. You'll actually, even though it's kind of easy, well, not easy, even though it's kind of rough, you'll be training your brain to understand like what's going on inside the file as it's reading. And then once you've done files, going to databases is not so much work. because it's mostly the same things. The only thing that's really different is how it's stored on your computer, or wherever it's stored, and how you get to it. Those are the only two different things. Once you can get the data, you can do anything with data. But if you're brave and you want to venture into doing databases, a lot of people use SQLite, or is it MySQLite? It's SQLite. DB2 is popular, but not as popular, I guess. You don't want to do big data. No, big data is a mess. That's like what Google does on a minutely basis, analyzing DNA chains and all that. Google doesn't analyze DNA chains, but they totally could. If you want to jump into databases, get something that's SQL, particularly SQLite. It's there's databases and then there's database languages, like query languages are what they called. Query languages are probably stick with SQL because that's all that anybody uses. But as far as the database itself, it can be SQL, it can be Oracle. Most databases can use SQL. AJ, what were we going to do today? Why'd you call me?
I was bored.
You were bored. Okay. Well, my voice is out, otherwise I would do some coding with you. Unless you want to try to do a little project and people can watch you and laugh at you.
Don't judge me. Yeah, if you want. Define little, sir. The last little project was like 4 hours long.
Well, how well do you remember the that string list thing that I had you do?
The string list thing. What did it? Wait. String list. Hold on, let me go look at it. This will help me remember.
So I had AJ write basically an implementation of a list. He had to make a list of strings, and this was the test driven. So I wrote a bunch of tests that said, okay, your list has to do this. It has to do this. When I call list.add, I expect this. When I call list.size, I expect this. And he finished all of them except for one. The only thing he has to do now is sort the list. And I told him he can't use the collections sort. When you decide to get a web developer job, are you expected to know some front end? I would say no. I'm a web developer. The only front end I had ever done is like Swing, that UI that you saw before. That's the only, like, I didn't know that much JavaScript. I had never used Spring MVC, which is what we use at work. But they hired me anyway, and now I do front end. I do a little bit of back end, but it's mostly front end where I work. So yeah, you don't have to know a lot about front end. I think it's more important that you're smart and you can figure things out quickly. I think that's way more important to good employers anyway. If you're hiring at a company where the managers know the content, the managers, for example, the guy who hired me, he's an IT guy. It's not some suit.
Okay, I found it, I think.
All right, so at least one person wants to stream with AJ, so I'm going to, why don't you go ahead and share your screen and I'll put it up here. And we'll see how much he remembers of the project I had him do. He had to make basically a linked list is what he made. A linked list of strings. Are you sharing?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay, let me get this guy up here. You guys are gonna see like the ugly Skype outline. Here we go. That fits.
Okay, so how do I change the... I need to see like more of the code.
Let me, let's see, can I... Alright,
Okay.
Gamer Coder says he's a web developer since 1 week. You mean for 1 week, or since your first week?
Lots of code, okay.
How long did it take me to get comfortable with Java? It may be different for you. Your mileage may vary. I learned Neverwinter script, which is a scripting language for Neverwinter Nights, and it was very close to C. It's basically C without pointers, is what it was. I learned that, so I already knew kind of Java syntax when I jumped into Java. As far as Java goes, most of what I wrote was tiny programs, and just incrementally, you would write bigger programs until you're writing the thing that you saw earlier, until you're writing a Magic the Gathering rules engine or something like that. You know, your programs will start small, and every mistake you make, you'll learn from, and then every program you make will have less mistakes, and it'll be bigger. It'll have more bugs, but it'll have less mistakes. Gamer Coder, he says, where he works, the back end is Node and the front end is Angular. Our company just started using, I wouldn't say started using, we just got permission to use Angular in our projects. And ever since I've learned Angular, I've fallen in love with it. I love Angular. It's too easy. It's so easy. I love it so much. All right, so you're in the custom list. You don't want to change that code. That's my code.
Oh.
You want to change string list. That's what you're allowed to touch. So he made a linked list. That's the thing that you saw in the video before I paused the stream, where you have access to the first element in your list, and every element in the list has access to the next one. So that's what he made. Angular 2.0 in 2015? I don't think so. Angular 2 is coming out in like 2 more years. I might be Google said that it's probably 2 more years before Angular 2 comes out officially. I know you can get some of it. There's like some code out there that they've demoed. But I mean, Angular 1, even though I have no idea how to write directives, I do give AJ lessons. But this is one of the like homework assignments that I gave him. So we're gonna watch him try to remember what happened. He wrote all of this. I guided him, but he wrote it all.
Holy crap. Okay, node first equals new node, blah, blah.
Right, so I'll explain the linked list, which is what you have. So you have access to the first, node first equals new node. You have access to only the front of a list, but everything in the list can see the next item in it. So anytime you navigate through it, you're basically going through the chain. I've never heard of Screen Hero. No, I'm using Open Broadcaster. What's it called? It's OBS. It's Open Broadcaster System? Software. Open Broadcaster software. It's like XSplit. His lessons are free. I'm probably not going to give private lessons because I can just stream the lessons for free.
I'm just gonna cannibalize something I already made.
Okay. Wait, you have to sort the list though.
Ah.
The sort is the only thing you have left to do.
Right. So
People are spamming links. The bots found me. Let's get rid of these bots. Actually, there's only one. The other, I think it's the same one that there was before.
unreachable statement. What?
Yeah, I mean the lessons are just going to be these streams, and I mean if you guys, I was planning on only doing like basic stuff to some intermediate stuff, but if this is something that's really popular and you guys want more of, then I'll go into intermediate. I'll go into advanced stuff someday.
First or wait, the data is a string, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
So first data equals a.
Right. So each node contains the string that's in it, and it contains a link to the next one.
What the heck? Unreachable statement.
Robots.txt says element. That's good. That's funny. Robots.txt is a text file that's on a lot of web servers that internet spiders like Google can read.
Can I not change first data?
the test it is, but I want
Yeah.
you to actually write good code. I don't want you to pass this arbitrary
Okay.
test.
So this is the exact opposite of what you did.
This is
before.
the opposite of the snake-headedness that I gave you last time.
You ass. Okay. Okay. So I can't do first side 80.
Wanted to see something from scratch. All right, if you don't feel like doing the sort, let's see if there's another thing that we could do.
Oh, they don't want to see the sort?
Yeah, they don't want to see the sort. They want to see something from scratch, something that's
Fine.
relatively. You've already. Do you remember how you did the blackjack thing?
For the most part. Hold on.
Okay, we're not going to
do
do blackjack. How about? How about you guys think of something that's relatively simple that he can make in maybe half an hour or something like that, half an hour to an hour, and we can see him do it
with help.
because he's done blackjack. He's made a little blackjack text-based thing. He's done like a coin change algorithm, the coin change problem, where if you give someone some amount of money, what's the minimum amount? Or yeah, the minimum amount of coins to make that amount of money. He's done that. What is something you could do? X and OXEs. What's that? Oh, tic-tac-toe? We're not going to have him do tic-tac-toe because that's going to require an interface. I'm teaching. Y'all are learning. The video is misnamed. I actually finished the topic that's on the title. People just kept asking questions, so I paused it and restarted it. A tax app? He's not going to do something. He's not going to do tax app. That's too boring. We do want to do some kind of math thing.
That was the final in that terrible
Compound
Java
interest
class.
calculator. You guys are good. All right. I'm also trying to think of what he can do. Let's see. It's hard to think of something that's small enough to do in like an hour to 30 minutes, but also a bracket system. That's a good idea. So let's say that there's a tournament going on, and you want to arrange the teams in brackets, and then randomize who wins in each bracket. How about you do that?
Okay. All right,
So I'm not going to write a test for you, but I will explain what you're going to need. You're going to need some object that represents each team, and then you're going to need some object that represents the bracket, the tree.
So I need an entire package for this then.
Yeah, this guy says start with 64, but you know, if you can do 8, you can do anything. So I would say just use maybe 8 teams, or 16 even. We don't want to have too much stuff on the screen. Packages are generally one word. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. He can, let's see, for this project, yes, you can call from any Java API that you want.
Alright, wait, what do I do?
So you probably don't remember, but sometimes I said you're not allowed to use certain things that, like, to sort the array or to sort your string list already exists in Java, but I wanted you to actually do it yourself.
Oh.
There are no restrictions for this. I just want you to make a bunch of teams in a tournament bracket, randomize who wins, and then print out, you know, who won at every level.
Okay. So I do need an entire package for this because I'm gonna need.
Yeah, make a new package. That's fine.
I'm gonna need at least one class for the teams.
Yeah, the package name should not be.
Well,
that's fine. Whatever. Usually package names are lowercase, but it doesn't matter.
Oh
No, you want a Java class.
Alright, go away.
Make a program that draws a class diagram. Objects need to be uppercase. I will make you enforce that. Just right-click on that bracket in that file. Right-click on it. Yeah. Hit refactor. Rename. And give it a capital. There you go.
Okay. Alright, cool. Blah blah. So this is gonna be where I have the actual what does things. So I need a new thingy.
If you make a new class, it goes in a package.
Oh,
New Java class.
and this is gonna be.
He doesn't keep this up as much as he should, so.
This is gonna be team. Teams.
Okay, that's good. No, I would make it singular team.
Okay.
Each team will be its own object.
All right. So what is gonna be contained in a team? Who they're.
Well, at least they're going to have a name.
Yeah. So.
Gamer
Hold on.
Coder says maybe we can start an open source project with this community. You actually don't need a constructor, but you should write one anyway. Element's telling you to write a constructor for your team.
Hold on. Give me a minute. I'll remember what a constructor is.
So objects have methods to do things, but if you want to make an object, you need to use a constructor.
Okay.
It's just going to be public team. Team. There you go. Parentheses. If you want any parameters, you can have parameters in there, but you don't need them.
Okay. I know how you
You
like
have a
white
constructor.
space.
AJ likes putting way too much white space in his files.
There, you happy?
Uh,
Okay. What does the team need to contain? You said a name, right?
At least a name. We need to know the difference between each team.
So, string name.
Packages are exactly like namespaces. Exactly.
Was it
Yeah,
capital?
it's just a collection of Java classes that kind of belong in the same place.
Okay. And each team is going to have a different name.
Alright, you've
But I
already
can
got a problem. How long do variables live?
As long as they exist in, like, this string name is only going to be in here.
Right, so after you make a team and that constructor ends, they're not going to have a name anymore. So that name's got to go somewhere else.
Okay.
Define what's public, static, or private. Alright, so if a method or a variable is public, it means any code anywhere can use it. They're asking questions. You can just think about what you're doing.
Okay.
Public means any code can access it. Private means you can only access it within the same class. So if he's writing his team class, if he makes name private, then then only a team can see a team name. And I explained static earlier today in video 2.5. It was like a little addendum video. But static basically means whatever it is, if it's a variable or a method, a static variable or method belongs to a class rather than an individual object. It's fine, man. He's just starting. And he doesn't practice either. So he
Okay.
learns a lot and then he forgets most of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. Okay, so every team has a name and a score. That's really all they need, because I'm just going to use the score to calculate who wins.
Right. How are you going to give them a name?
I need something that does that.
Yeah.
Generates a bunch of random names. 8
Well,
random names,
They don't
right?
have to be random. You can name
Right.
them whatever you want. You can just make 8 different teams.
Okay, so, like, I can... Do I need to do that? I can do that in here, can I? Surely?
You know what I would do? I'd put it in the constructor, actually. So,
In the constructor?
yeah. So your team constructor, yeah, give it a string.
Wait, just, like, string?
Well, capital S. Remember, in your parameter list, you're basically declaring which variables get sent in. So you'd write it exactly like you'd write a variable. That's an array. You don't want that. You have to give it a name, though.
String name.
I would not give it that name, because it's the same as another one.
Okay,
about new
team
name?
name.
Team name is fine.
Okay. So I'm passing in team name. All right. So and I need 8 different team names.
You're not going to make
right?
8 teams here. Inside your team class, remember, a class is a template. Each object, even though it's the same class, they're different objects. When you're coding inside of a class, think as if it's just one object you're making.
So I can go elsewhere and just type team blah 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 equals new team.
Yeah, you're going to want to put that somewhere else.
Okay.
You don't want to have
You-
teams inside of teams.
Would you do that? Okay. Would you have another class for that, or would you just do that in
Just
your
use the main method. You say, just make 8
Okay.
teams in your main method.
Okay.
I'm glad you remember that.
What is it? How does that work?
String array. Args. String, array. And then it doesn't have to be called args. You have to name it something.
Oh.
No, string, then the array brackets. That means string array.
Okay.
And then the variable name comes after.
Out here.
No.
Oh my
After
god.
the bracket.
Okay.
I would encourage you, don't put a space between string and the brackets. Because it's not string space array, it's an array of strings. It's a string array. That's like one thing.
Okay.
That's how you should write it.
All right. So this is the main. And tons of white space just for you. Okay. So I can just do team. Wait. Team. What am I gonna name it? Team.
We're
one?
using JMonkey Engine to write our code. It's basically NetBeans. We're using NetBeans. But a lot of people use Eclipse. A lot of people use Eclipse. He can control. Tell him that if you control space, if he types main. Oh, there's a shortcut in NetBeans for main. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You already wrote it. He's talking
Okay.
about code templates. Don't worry about it.
All right. So team. What
Why
are we
no
gonna
visibility for member variables? Yeah, AJ,
Wait, what?
good question. Why is there no member? Why are there no access? Why is there no access level for your variables inside div team? Should those be public, private, protected?
Call? Fine.
Generally, you can do it that way, but generally it's considered bad practice to have public in a lot of places. What most companies, including mine, will force you to do... No, keep it public. It's fine for now. This is a small program. What most companies will force you to do is all your class variables will be private or protected, and then you'll have methods to access them rather than access them directly.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is the best program for writing code. Not vanilla Notepad, and not Dr. Java. You remember Dr. Java?
I remember Dr. Java.
Yeah, you want to use Netclips. You want to use NetBeans or Eclipse, preferably. Those are the 2 best ones. There's a lot of people that are using IntelliJ now. I didn't like it, but some people do. It's not really important which one you use. Find one that you really like, that has the features that you're going to use, and stick with it. I mean,
Okay.
Java code is Java code. Doesn't matter what you write it in, except for how efficient you are.
Oh wait, what? It thinks team
That'll
is
work.
a string.
Oh yeah, you need a string in there.
Oh. Wait, I need a string in here.
In there. There you go.
Okay.
Notepad++. Notepad++ has syntax highlighting, but it's not going to do cool things. Like, you can't navigate around and find different code. You can't, oh
Oop.
boy. You can't compile the code from Notepad++. I'm sure there's probably plugins to do that, but normally you can't do it.
Alright. Stop me if I'm doing something wrong.
Like a lot of programs, or like a lot of designs, there are multiple ways to do things. This is one way to do this. Some people might use arrays or lists, but if you know you're only going to have 8 teams all the time,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Okay. I have 8 teams. So each team has a name now. And they all have a score of 0.
I've heard of Sublime Text. I have some people at work that use Sublime Text. I've never used it. I've always used Notepad++. So that's what I just continue to use.
So you want me to have teams play, decide random winners, and then you want me to display the winner at every bracket?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see, we have 8 teams. So we're gonna have we're gonna have 3 different tiers of matches.
Yeah. Quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So first, I need to decide who plays who, which you also want to be random, correct?
It doesn't matter who plays who. You can have them in the order that you wrote them.
Okay.
But I don't want you to write match 1, match 2, match 3. I don't want you to do that.
Okay.
I want you to actually come up with a way to pair them up and a way to keep track of who's paired with who.
Oh, okay.
So I'll go ahead and maybe ask chat if they have any suggestions for you. How should you keep track of who's paired up with who? Joe Fish says, first editor discussion that didn't blow up to Vim versus Emacs in the first seconds. Well done. What are the little quotes used for? You mean single quotes? Single quotes in Java are for characters. Strings are multiple characters. Characters are just one character, like the letter A. You'd use single quotes for that.
You could treat each match like an object.
Wait, what are the little quotes used for in backend? Sorry, he was asking a completely different question than what I read. What are the little quotes used for backend? I don't know what you mean. And it depends what language. Okay, we've got a match.
Yeah, and each match is gonna have 2 teams, correct?
We've got some different ideas. Somebody says use use a two-dimensional array. Somebody says just use an array.
I haven't used 2-dimensional arrays yet. I don't know.
What are little quotes used for in backend, like in JSON? JSON is just a container. It's just a string for storing a complex object. JSONs can be front end or back end. It's just the way you transfer data from one place to another.
You want me to make an array of teams, and I guess.
You could have an array of teams, but you don't need one. What you have is acceptable.
Okay. So I want every match to contain 2 teams, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to pass in. So public match. Correct? So far?
Yep, that's your constructor.
Blah, blah. I'm making the match now.
You're going to need parentheses on every method, including constructors.
Blah, 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 blah. And I'm passing in. What the hell? Yeah, I'm passing in teams, correct? So I
Yeah,
can just
you can
do
do that.
like. I can just do like team, comma, team.
Yeah? You have to give them names.
Might have to give-
Anytime you make a variable, you have to give it a variable name. He needs getters and setters. In order to actually fulfill the assignment, he doesn't need getters and setters, but if he were doing this for a company, then he should have getters and setters. I'll say that.
I still don't know what these are.
Okay, so you have public variables, which I said are fine for this project. But what people usually do is they have private variables instead. They say nobody's allowed to look at my variables. They can ask for it. So you would have methods like getName, which would just return name. And you would have setName, which would take a string, and you'd say, my name is whatever they sent me. That's typically what you do. But what you have is acceptable for now.
I like his way, for loop, to create the teams and then add it into a list. What is it? Wait,
I talked about all this stuff today and you missed it.
what is it? I equals 0?
Yeah, lists are very. You have to declare it if it doesn't exist. So for int I equals 0. Yeah, I talked about lists today.
What is it?
It's semi
I is less than, what is it? 0, 7?
less than 8. It's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I plus plus. And then I want to do some stuff. For a loop that creates teams, puts them into an array.
I would use a list if I were you.
What do you mean a list?
A list. Oh, I haven't taught you about lists yet.
No, you have not, sir.
Okay, you can use an array.
Okay.
Okay,
Alright.
a list. Remember when you did your string list?
Yeah.
Where you had like add and get and remove? That's a list. Actually, let's make you use lists. You'll learn how lists work.
Oh god damn it.
So
Make up
get rid of the line you just wrote. He is creating a system. Keep the loop. Keep the loop. Just get rid of all the teams. He's going to create a system that is like a tournament bracket. So he's going to generate some teams, and he's going to make them beat each other randomly, and then he's going to print out the results of the tournament. He's made his team object. He's made a match object, although I don't think it has anything in it.
No, nothing yet.
It just exists.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna teach you how to make a list. So
Okay.
you want to do this outside your loop,
Okay.
because if it's inside your loop, that would not be good.
Okay.
All right, so type array list. It's an object. It's an object. He knows what that means.
No, I don't.
Put the diamond brackets, the less than, greater than.
Oh.
Those are called diamond brackets. Give it a name.
Friggin' team list.
Equals new array list. There you go. You need to put the diamond brackets on that side too, and then have parentheses.
What? Okay.
Okay, so on the left-hand side of that, inside the diamond brackets, go on the left hand. Inside the diamond brackets, you're going to type what kind of object it's going to store.
It's gonna store a team.
It's going to store a team.
So that's all I need, just team.
Yep, just team. Okay, you've made an array list of teams. You have to import it.
Oh. I can do it from here, can I?
Yep.
Okay.
Another good thing about an IDE, it just knows everything.
So alright. I
So
have
You have your list of teams, which is currently empty.
and can I do array list length equals 8? No? Yes, please.
Well, array list is the name of a class, not the name of an object. And you don't have to set the length of your list because your list is going to grow and shrink for you.
Oh,
You
okay.
don't. It's not like an array where you have to tell it how big it needs to be. Okay, Joe Fish asks actually a really good question. He says, "Why keep going on your thing? Why are
Okay.
you supposed to use getters and setters in the industry?" He means, why is it considered good practice to use getters and setters? He says, "I understand if you want to sanitize the input, but I've seen brain dead getters and setters that just return or assign the value. Why not just make it public?" I actually prefer when I write my things that's like personal stuff that no one else is going to work on. I prefer doing it that way. I prefer just having public variables. If my getters and setters are just going to, okay, it's equal to that and just return that. If you're not going to do any kind of transformation or validation on it, it's actually less code to make it public. However, when you're writing an API, especially one that other people are going to use, it's mostly for consistency. When you're writing an API that people are going to use, they expect to be able to get everything using methods only. So in the industry, or when you're writing a library that you expect other people to use, it's generally good practice to use getters and setters for everything, even if it's just going to be this equals this and that, and you know, I want the name, return name. I see a lot of code.
Alright, I know what I want this to do, I just don't know how to do it.
Okay, once you have created your array list, you don't need the operators anymore. You can just use team list. Team list is the name of your object. This is the name of your list.
So I don't need, it's not
Team
like,
list, you don't need the diamonds at all.
so there's not, I can't use like
Team
index
list
1, index
dot,
2.
hit the dot, Those are all the methods you can do on your list.
Okay. Team list is what I want. And then, so, uh, is this doable is my question.
Let him do it. He'll figure it out. So right now you're adding a string to it, but it only accepts teams.
Oh. So this works,
No.
but I want to increment the number. Wait, what? This doesn't work?
No, that does not work, because now you're sending it something that doesn't exist. You're getting closer. You haven't created any teams yet. How do you create a team?
Team blah blah equals new team.
Do that. No. Inside your loop, you're going to create multiple teams, so it's got to be in your loop.
And I put the name of the team in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's got to be a string, though.
Oh. But I want this number to increment.
Mm-hmm.
Is this doable?
Yep.
Was it plus I? Was it I plus 1?
Yeah, he suggested I plus 1 so that you're not starting at 0.
Yeah. Blah blah.
Yeah,
that
you
works.
could easily do team 0, team 1.
Okay.
Don't get rid of that whole line. That's some good stuff.
Oh my god, okay. And then I want to add, what is it? I'm just adding team 1, correct?
Yep.
Like this? Okay. So in theory, this is going to give
CCA
me...
Beebs' code faster? Array list team list equals new array list of teams. For int I equals 0, I less the number of teams. A list dot add new team. They're actually running at the same speed, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Oh, I Love Gaming is back.
So I have some teams. Now I have 8 teams, correct?
Yeah, whether you
Okay.
create a new team or you... Actually, you know what? I think Beebs' code probably is... Did I say Beebs? What is it? Yeah, I think Beebs' code is faster because you're not creating a new variable reference. You're not creating an object reference. You're just creating an object and sending it in. When you get out of the loop, Java's actually going to throw away that variable team1. Even though the team itself will still exist because it's in a list, the variable reference has to be cleaned up. So his code's probably a little bit faster than AJ's, but it's negligible. We're talking microseconds. What you have is fine.
Alright, so I've got 8 teams. And they're labeled 1 through 8.
Mhm.
But they're still not in this list, correct?
Yeah, they are. You added them.
Oh yeah, okay, they're in this list. They're in order 1 through 8, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so that's all I need right here for now.
What am I planning about the game that we're programming? AJ's also going to help me when he learns to, do this stuff with his eyes closed. I can't talk about the game we're making because it's got some stuff that's really cool that nobody has done before, and I don't want anybody to steal it. But it's gonna like you're gonna steal it. It's the idea that without giving anything away, we basically wanted to combine a bunch of other games that we loved. Me, AJ here, and 1 or 2 other people are probably gonna join as well. We're just combining a lot of really fun mechanics from other games in a way that hasn't been done. We think it'll be pretty interesting. HS is better than LOL is asking, what are we doing? He's setting up a tournament bracket with teams that will beat each other randomly, and he's going to print out the results of the tournament. If you initialize the array list with a number of teams you want to add, it's faster. I didn't even know you could do that on an array list. Does it actually let you do that? Am I going to release the code for my game on GitHub? The way that the game is going to be structured is, if you've ever played something like Neverwinter Nights or much of the source games, it's going to be like that, where I'm not going to release the code, but I will let people run their own servers, and they'll have access to some scripting code for some of the game components that they can change. Kills me not to give anything away about it, but it's going to be a lot like Neverwinter Nights, where you'll be able to make your own server, make your own world, and people will be able to play on your server that way. I will, yeah.
Alright, what am I doing here?
What were you doing here? Yeah,
What error is this? Can I
all
find
right.
simple...
This is something that you do a lot incorrectly, and go to your match. When you're declaring parameters, you're actually supposed to declare variables. Your parameters are always variable names. Right, so it's going to be a team. No, you had it. Team. Then give it a name. Right, and the same thing on the other one.
It can't just pull... It doesn't know...
No, it
These
doesn't
are the
know.
ones.
Your code, when you're writing your code, it's not running. It doesn't know variable names when you're writing it. Because people could send it anything.
Okay. So this has team 1 and team 2.
Yeah,
Oh,
Beeb,
yeah, I guess I could do it.
I've never actually done that with an array list. I always just let it resize itself. I didn't know. I know you can. I knew there was a way to do it, but I've never actually seen that. Stop reading chat. Work on your thing.
I'm not reading chat. This is not what I want to take place. This is a template of a match. This
Right.
isn't an actual match.
Right.
So these don't matter then.
Those do matter. Every match that you create will have two teams. That's exactly what you want. The variable names are irrelevant. What
Yeah,
matters.
that's what I'm saying. This isn't actually team 1 and this isn't
Yeah, that's not
team...
actually team one. Those are just two arbitrary teams. The reason you give them names and parameters is so you can tell them apart.
Okay, and every match needs a winner. Can I put the winner here, or do you want me to randomize it in there? In here?
Oh, you can do it in the match. It's fine. Yes,
Okay.
the teams he's sending in are objects that he's made. Classes. It's a class.
So every match has 2 teams. It's passed in 2 teams, and it's going to poop out a winner. So now I need the code to poop out a winner, correct?
Yep.
Alright. And it's just something random, right?
Classes and objects are not the same, but they're similar. A class is a template for the objects that you can make out of it. Yesterday, if you go into the Twitch archive on my channel, there's Java Programming 101 or whatever it's called, Part 3 Objects, where I very, very deeply explain the difference with much more words. But a class, I can't think of a better way to explain it. A class is a template, and you're basically telling Java, I want to be able to create an object with these variables and these methods. That's what a class is, but they're not actual objects until the code actually makes them when you run the code. What should you make in Python? Were you the one that was going to do work with Unity? Was that you? Most scripting languages typically are designed for small things. I wouldn't make a big project in a scripting language. Unity allows it, but there's other stuff in Unity. Is the method calling objects or classes? Alright, a method, if it's a non-static method, you use an object to call the method. If it's a static method, you use the class to call it. When you actually call a method, if it has parameters, you're passing objects into it. It is possible to pass a class into a parameter, into a method, but you don't do that very much. Usually you pass objects. The only reason you would pass a class, actually I'm not even going to tell you, because it's so advanced that you don't need to know it. And you'll probably never use it. Alright, well, if you want to do something in Python, I don't know, make a board game that already exists. Make something like chess, or tic-tac-toe is probably a little too easy. I would say make something like chess, or it can be like a more modern board game. Make Monopoly, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff you can do with pretty much scripting languages have become really robust. Like you can make big projects with them. I don't recommend it, but you could. What is he doing?
You see what I'm getting at here?
Okay, yeah, I see what you're trying to do, but
An
why?
int is half a double, correct?
No, an int is a whole number. It's an integer.
Jesus. Okay. What's the biggest double there is? I need half of this.
You need half of what?
The largest possible double, without loss of consistency.
Math.random does not give you the largest possible double. It gives you a
I
double
know.
between 0 and 1.
It gives me a double between 0 and 1. Okay, that's all I need to know.
There you go. By the way, this is something that I found out in NetBeans. Hold Control and highlight that random.
I like that random.
Yeah, just no,
What?
don't click on it. Highlight it.
Oh,
Just highlight it. Hit Control again. Oh, it's not. That's weird. When I did it, it was bringing up the thing. But you
I'm
can
gonna-
right click and you can click Show Java Doc, and it will bring up the Java Doc for it. But don't do that now. Now that you know it's between 0 and 1.
so if x blah blah.
HS is better than law posted something in Pastebin. I'm gonna look at it and see what it is. It's probably part of his solution to this. Oh, he's doing something else. This is not for Java though. This looks like Python, C Sharp. I can't actually tell what it is.
Wait, what? What else is that? Is this cell supposed to be outside these brackets?
What do you? I'm reading chat. What'd you say?
Wait, hold on. I fucked something up. Is this else supposed to be outside the if statement?
Yes.
Ah, okay. What just happened?
You have to get rid of the else that's in there.
Oh. Okay.
What is it complaining about? It's complaining because
Reach into file while parsing. Illegal start type. Class interface. What have I done?
I don't see. Wait, stop moving. Stop scrolling. Hit save on everything.
Where's the save button? Right here. Two files.
Yeah.
Poink.
It still says you got a problem. If x is greater than or equal to 0. Oh,
Hitting
Okay,
save
it
made
fixed
it go
itself.
away. Yeah. That's weird. Okay. Well, if x is greater than or equal to point that, else point that. Okay. So, but if I print out team 1 is the winner, it's always going to say either team 1 or team 2.
don't use quotes. Each team has its own name, and you can get it because you made that variable public.
So I can just do.
You don't need to look at another file. You have
But I
your
want-
variables team 1 and team 2. Those are two objects that have been sent in whenever this method is called.
Yeah, but I still need quotes to.
No, you don't. Team 1 and Team 2 both have a string inside of them. You can just go get it.
Oh. What is the string inside of each team? Team name. Oh. Team name. What is it? I need a plus, right?
Nope. Where is team name?
It's in a different class.
Yeah, you can't use it. The only things you can use are things within this class or things within variables that you have access to. You have access to X, to Y, which you don't actually need because you're not using it. You have access
yeah.
to Team 1 and you have access to Team 2.
Okay, so I can just do team 1 dot whatever it is.
Yep, you can do Team 1 dot whatever it is.
Team 1 dot name. Yay.
Okay.
I'm sure your chat hates me.
He says, "Wait, there's a syntax error," but they're talking about something else that somebody pasted.
Okay, so matches work now,
Okay.
in theory.
However, you currently have no way, after a match is done, to detect who won out of the match. It tells you who won, but your code doesn't have any way to know after the fact. You're going to have multiple levels going on. So after the semifinals or after the quarterfinals are done, you know who won because it's in the console. How are you going to get that information back?
This is a good question. I'm sure that's why you asked it. Blah blah blah.
Is there any way to use objects inside of strings? Are you talking about Java?
I got an
Set
idea.
global variable.
Got an idea. Okay. So winner equals. Oh wait, no, it's not gonna work.
I would
What
not
is-
make I would not make that a string. I would make it a team. So
Yeah, that's a good
you
idea.
would be able to access the team that won, not just their name.
Okay, so I just need team then. Team. But it doesn't even really matter.
It doesn't matter what it's called.
Just new team.
I wouldn't set it to new team. I'd set it to null. Because before the match is done, there is no winner.
Oh yeah. Winner equals team one. Okay.
Do you want me to point out the bug in your code? Or do you want to
What
find
bug?
it yourself?
Go ahead and hit me with the bug.
Nope, you can find it yourself.
Damn it! Why do you do that? Okay. Team winner equals no. So
I
everything.
bet chat will tell you very quickly, because I'm sure some of them picked on it.
Okay.
picked
let
up
me get
on it.
that.
You just gotta wait for that 8-second delay.
I don't think any of them are watching. Fucking toddler
are.
baby time here. I think they're talking about.
They're talking about one of somebody's professor did something.
Check if it's null.
Well, nothing's accessing winner right now. You don't need to check if winner's null. You should check if the teams are null. I mean, you could, but you don't have to. That's not the bug. There's actually like a real bug with this.
Winner is always team two.
Winner is always team 2.
If it's greater than 0.5 else. No, it should. At least half the time be less than 0.5,
Half
right?
the time it'll be less than 0.5. However, the code that's inside the else is just the system out print line because you didn't put brackets around your code.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay. Alright, cool. Spaghetti code complete.
Still
All right.
better than League of Legends code.
Alright, so I have a team, I have matches that contain two teams, and shows the winner.
Mhm.
So now I just need, and this is creating all the teams.
Yep,
which
you
I
create 8 teams.
Okay. So now I don't need to do anything in this for loop. Okay. Blah blah blah. Now I want to create matches, correct? So match.
Somebody's saying you should use a formatter.
Fuck you. Okay. Match. What do I want to call this? Quarterfinal. Quarterfinal 1?
Sure.
Let's do a match.
Alright, just to be clear, you could do it this way.
That's all.
It would be
that's not clear at all.
more difficult but cleaner to do it with a list, but you don't have to. You can do it the way you were going to. That's fine.
I still don't know how to do. Okay, so like this, an array list of.
I would
match-
not do it as an array list because you're still beginning. You can do it just list out each different one.
Can I just do it like this?
No, don't use a list.
Oh my god! Then why did you bring it up?
because I'm trying to teach good practice. You could just make all these variables, but the problem you were going to have if this was production code, the problem you will eventually have is right now you're generating 8 teams, so you've got quarterfinals and up. Someday somebody might want you to do 16 teams. There's no way to easily change that in your code. You have to make a bunch of new variables.
Yeah.
If
I mean, I could do
if you were
16
more
teams.
experienced, what you would do is you'd have just one variable controlling how many teams, and the rest of your code would always work no matter what that number was.
Yeah.
But it's fine for now that you can just make 1 to the 7 different matches. That's fine for now.
Is it 7? Yeah, 3 and then 2. No, it should be 6, right?
7. 4 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, 1 finals.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right. So match, what is it? Quarter, final, 1 equals new match.
Time to
Wait.
smite another bot. I have smote the bot.
Acquired team. Oh. I see. What is it? Team 1. Team 2. No? Why do you hate me? Hold on.
You don't. Team 1 and Team 2 don't exist. Those are not variable names in your scope.
Oh. Can I do team list dot 1?
Yep.
Dot.
Well, it's not .1, it's .get.
Wait, it has no to get.
You have to tell it what to get. Okay, hit team list, dot, and just hit the dot and read the different methods.
Get removes that add.
You want get.
Okay. Returns the element at the specified position in this list. What is the specified position? Public E get.
It's whatever you put in the parameter.
Okay. Alright. Get 1. No. Whatever I put in the parameter?
Yep.
So I just want team 1?
Team 1 doesn't exist in your scope.
Ah.
It has to be an integer. It's telling you it needs an integer.
Oh, so I can just put 1 then.
You can put 1.
Okay.
I would not put 1. I mean, you could. I would put 0.
Oh,
0
yeah.
is where it starts. You could have put 1. It doesn't matter, but you're gonna forget about 0.
Oop. Okay. And then I just do this 4 times for the quarterfinals.
Earlier today, I remember saying whenever you have copy-pasted code, it usually means it's badly written.
Shut up.
It's fine. If you're just starting, the most important thing to do for any of you is just practice, even if your code is not what we call production ready. Even if your code is not to good code standards, as long as you're learning the syntax of Java and making something that works, that's good progress. Once you understand Java syntax and you understand when you should use a loop, when you should use a list, that kind of stuff, then you can make your code good. But when you're just starting out, all you really need to do is practice on the syntax. Because as you can see, AJ is struggling with how do you write a parameter list. When should I make objects and what should be in them, that kind of thing.
Okay. And so instead of team list .get, I want match. I want quarterfinal 1.winner, correct?
Aha! Very good. Is this another bot? Yeah, it is. See ya! Get out. I wish when you banned somebody, it would get rid of their name too, rather than showing message deleted.
Alright, you want to print out who won at every bracket, or do you just want to print out the winner?
Why don't you print out every bracket?
Okay. Alright.
It's about the same amount of work, so why not? You're just gonna copy paste it anyway.
Yeah.
Doesn't it say who wins in Inside Match already?
Maybe.
You already said blah 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 wins.
Yeah. So I can just do system out print line. What is it?
I would not put those print lines in your match though. I would do what you were gonna do a second ago.
Okay.
Print it outside.
Yeah, because I only added these for reasons. Okay.
Alright, wait. Inside your match, this guy's right. You need a formatter. Hit, what is it, NetBeans? Is it Alt-Shift-F? Haha! Much better. Everything's now aligned. That one should be fine. Just got rid of your white space.
That one actually didn't do anything either. Okay. And then, what is it? Plus, Jesus, this is gonna take forever.
You only need to do it once and you can copy the rest.
Yeah. What is it? Quarter. Final.
Turn this music up a little bit.
One dot winner. Why does this not work? Oh, F. Wasn't there some way to, what's that little trick to go to the next line or whatever?
The little trick to go to the next line.
When you're doing, print line, or is it print line automatically does it, doesn't it?
You mean when it actually prints? Print line prints a new line after the string that you put in.
Okay, alright, cool.
All of those are going to be on different lines, you know.
Yeah, that's the point.
Okay.
Thought there was some little ampersand or something.
Oh, you're talking about printf. Yeah,
Printf.
I'll show you how to do printf.
What's
so,
printf?
So get rid of your print line, or don't get rid of it, but change the print line, the first one, to printf. And then inside the string, put percent.
Like at the end?
Percent %s, I think. Okay, so the percent %s is going to be replaced by the first parameter after that. So inside the printf method, okay, that whole thing, the first parameter is a string, the one that you're inside.
Okay.
The first parameter after that will replace the first percent %s. The second parameter after that replaces the second percent %s, and so on.
Oh, okay.
So you don't want the plus, you want a comma.
Alright, so, okay.
You don't need those last three, but you need to change your string a little bit, because right now you're only printing the first one.
I need more percent
You need
S's.
more percent %s's.
Can I just do it like this?
Okay.
I'm gonna take that as a no.
You can do it like that, and it will compile. There you go. Spaces are good.
Alright, let's see if it works.
Uh-oh, he's gonna do it. I know what's gonna happen.
Ah! Oh, memory addresses.
Yeah, they're memory addresses. I'm glad you remembered that.
Oh, wait, what?
The reason they're memory addresses is because you're sending in objects instead of strings.
Wait a minute, what? Sending in objects instead of strings.
Yeah,
So I had to put
the
this
winner
in.
is not a string, it's a team.
Oh.
Okay, CCA Beeb has a suggestion for you. That's one way you could do it, and you wouldn't have to
Override.
change this class. There's a second way you could do this.
Override
I'll
two
tell you the
strings.
other one because yeah, okay, so here's what's happening. When you are trying to convert something to a string, like an object, Java will automatically call the toString method for that object. Your objects
Oh.
don't have a toString method, so it's just returning that stuff down there.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you define a toString method inside each team, then it'll be what you want it to be.
Okay. So I
The
just
other way
need-
you can do it is go back to your other one. Here's a second way, and you can choose how you want to do it. The second way is you would just quarterfinal1.winner.name. Because they already have a name, you can just access it. So that's one way to do it, or you can do the toString way. I guess you're going to do it that way.
This way seems easier.
It's good. It's probably better practice to do toString, but this way is functional.
Okay.
The reason he's saying override toString is because every object already has a toString. You didn't give them names, did you?
Uh,
The winners are
nobody
night,
wins
everybody.
in my world, bitches.
right there.
Okay. Yeah, they have names.
No, they don't.
Oh. Fucking goddamn it. Wait, don't I have to name them where they're made then? No, every team contains a name, correct?
Right,
That's
but right,
just-
right now they're all blank. You're never giving them the name.
Team 1 equals. This is what's populating the list.
Look inside your constructor. What's your constructor doing for team?
Blah blah.
No, your constructor. What's your team constructor doing?
It's giving teams a name.
That's not your constructor. Your constructor is that thing is your constructor. What is that doing?
Nothing.
Exactly. Oh,
No? Okay.
don't do that.
Alright, alright. So, I just want to do name equals. Can I do this?
Yep, you can do that.
Name equals.
That's what
blah,
you
blah,
should
blah.
do, in fact.
So, I just need. I don't really need anything in here, do I?
You're gonna need something if you want it to have a name.
Jesus. He told me to make them public. Okay.
I said you could make it public. I didn't tell you to make them public.
Oh my god, I'm gonna kick you in the balls.
You just
with
made.
my-
I said, should they be public or private? And you just started writing public. And then I explained it's convention to write private.
Kicking you in the balls, Drax. If you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, you would be Drax. Okay. I want them to each have a name, but I need the names to be all different.
So when up there in your for loop,
Mhm.
what are you passing into team? It has a parameter.
This string, and then oh. Oh.
Oh no.
No, I'm gonna do it.
No, that doesn't work. Don't do that. Your code, that other class was fine. Bracket was fine. That code is fine. You need to change the code in team.
See, but if I name each team something, they're all gonna be named the same thing, correct?
No, the loop is giving them different names.
Oh, so I can just put anything in here.
Oh my god.
What?
How? Okay, look at your for loop. Alright, Beeb wants you to. I'll do his thing after this. Okay, study line 11 very closely. Why are you giving it a string?
to name each team?
Okay. Now, when you're calling that new team, you're calling your constructor,
Okay.
right? So go to your team constructor.
Okay.
So you're passing it in a string.
Mm-hmm.
You're allowed to use that string. There you go. That's what
Jesus.
parameters are for.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's do
He
it.
could put name equals null, but then all the teams would be named just null. Actually, I don't know if they would. There you go. The winners are 1, 3, 6, and 8. So Beeb, out of his love for good coding practices, does not want you to use quarterfinal1.winner.name.
Oh, you're an ass, Beeb. Okay.
He wants you to override the toString method in each of
Okay.
in your team class. It is
Look.
actually better to do it his way.
Yeah, it's also better to permit this guy from the channel for making more work for me. Could do that too, you know, and solve my problem. Alright, motherfucker. Alright, where am I? Wait, what? It's quarterfinal one dot winner.
You're gonna change teams.
So I'm gonna change teams. And I need a toString method in here, right?
Yeah.
So I can just do public toString.
You're still inside your constructor.
Oh. Give me the white space. Okay. So I can just do public toString.
What's the return type? You need a return type.
It is. Oh,
String is the return type.
fine. Like this?
Yep. Perfect.
Public string, toString, blah blah. Do I need this? Yes. No? Maybe so?
Yep. It's complaining because it's not returning a string.
Oh. Okay. In toString.
Yes,
And the
Beeb
string?
says the best practice is to have private variables and have getters and setters. However, somebody else, I don't remember who it was, asked a similar. You can keep going.
Okay.
I'm talking to chat. He asked a similar question: why is it considered good practice to have private getters and setters, to have private members with getters and setters, rather than making them public? If whenever all your getters or setters are just like, you know, get name, return name, if he called them dead. When I write my code for myself, if it's something nobody else has to use, I actually do that. I use public all over the place. In the cases where I don't need to transform the data. If I want something's name, I just go for the name. I don't have to make a method for that. But it's considered good practice to do it the other way, because APIs, when other people are using your code, they expect to be able to get anything by using methods. Methods are the way that you get everything out of an API. So all your variables, if you want people to access your variables, they should access it through methods. So that's why it's good practice to use private instead of public. You can continue. You can keep them public. I don't care. Nobody else is
Okay.
going to work on your code.
So this isn't working because quarterfinal one dot winner is returning a memory address, correct?
No, what's happening is so Java wants to get a string out of that because printf expects a string, right?
Okay.
So what it's doing is it's seeing an object and it wants a string. This is a special case in Java. When it sees an object and it's expecting a string, it will call the toString method for that object. If it
Okay.
doesn't have one, then it returns that memory address stuff. That's the default behavior.
Okay.
So you can override that behavior and just return whatever string you want it to return.
So I want it to return whatever's in the toString, which is name, isn't it?
Sure?
So I can just return name. Okay.
Perfect. I think the IDE is complaining because you didn't add the override annotation, but I don't think it matters. There you go.
Well, it's not. Wait, where?
Don't worry about it. You don't actually need that.
Okay, cool. And then I can just do this.
And then you just copy it for the semifinals and the finals.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's pretty much it. They wanted you to write something from scratch, and you did it in an hour. Or maybe a little more. I don't really know how long that was.
I would have been done. But all you noobs and your suggestions. Alright.
Isn't
I
it
had
dangerous
this-
to create a
okay.
variable called name? If you want to create a getter, it will generate get name. I don't see the danger in that. ahead and finish it. Do the semifinals and the final.
Oh, I mean, it's just this again.
Yeah, it's just copy paste. Doesn't matter.
Sidetracked by the whole "Where's my nice not ramen meal gonna come from?" That one kind of cropped up on me. I actually had an interview today for a salary job. I'm moving up in the world. Ooh.
How'd
It's
it go?
only Ace the first interview, Ace the second interview. They're mailing paperwork now. Or
What are they
not
for?
now, no. Well, the same thing I was doing, but at a hillbilly store.
A hillbilly store.
That's actually what it is. Like, how long have you been in the South? Have
Is
you
it
been
called Hillbilly Store?
No, it's called Atwoods.
It's called what?
Atwoods. All one
Atwoods?
word. Atwoods, all one word. They
So
sell like,
is the store at the woods?
I mean, everything's at the woods.
Is it like one of those outdoor sports places?
No, that's still too city. You're not thinking country enough. We're talking like they sell things.
Empty
to
soda
feed-
cans and shotguns that have work?
They sell shotguns, and then things to feed your farm animals and
Okay.
equipment to feed your farm animals. All right, look, I don't have a lot of choices out here. All right, what do you want me to do? The friggin' application to be a dispatcher for the police was 42 pages long, and I had to go get it notarized. I'm still not done filling it out.
All right. Yeah, CCA Beeb, he asked, isn't it dangerous to create a variable named name? If you want to create a getter, it will generate get name. But I don't know why that would be dangerous. Name is not a special variable, or it's not a special word in Java. Nothing cares about that. The only, like, it's not dangerous. If someone else is reading your code, it might be slightly confusing, but I mean, the job I work for, things have names. I don't really know what you're getting at.
What I was gonna say is I accidentally might have taken a freelancing transcribing contract.
Accidentally.
I mean, it wasn't accidentally, but I just kind of fell into it. So on the side, I will get somewhere between $11 and $17 an hour to transcribe some sort of audio files. I don't know what they are.
Okay. So Zeus asked the same thing that two other people asked that I answered, but I'll answer again because he probably just joined. Get class, get name. Yeah, I see what you mean. But if name is not static, then that's not a problem. But yeah, to answer Zeus, somebody, I think it was Johnny something, Johnny90 maybe. I don't want to scroll up. He asked if you have a bunch of variables and they're all, and all the getters and setters are just, if it's get name, return name, set name, name equals whatever. If all of your variables just do that and your getters and setters are just one line, why not just make them public? And my answer was, if it's your code, go for it. That's way less code. But in production code, in libraries, in APIs, people expect to do everything through methods. They may not know that you've made some variables public and other variables private. They may not know that. So it's more clear to other users of your code if they're all in methods. That's why people generally do private variables with getters and setters. It's not really dangerous. It's just possibly slightly confusing. Yes, you should follow coding standards if other people are seeing your code. If it's your code and you know no one else is going to look at it, and if you're not doing anything functionally wrong, like if you're not writing obvious bugs or anything like that, just always do them private and you don't have to think about it. Yeah, that is a good point.
Obvious bugs like zooming in on the deck.
Yeah. No, but that's not due to public or private access. That's due to a long algorithm that's checking a bunch of rules. Yeah, it is good practice to practice good practice. So you should use good coding standards all the time, even if you don't have to.
I think if you say practice one more time, I might hurl something at you.
From Texas, that'd be impressive.
I have quite an arm, sir.
Yeah, but he's like very, very new in learning. I didn't want him to have to deal with writing a bunch of extra methods for things he already has. When he's working on my game, he will have to do that because my game is going to be written by multiple people. My new game, not my old one, and everything will be public. Everything will be getter and setter. How can you make the bracket winners part of the code smaller or cleaner? How would you make the bracket winners part of the code? Oh, I see what he's saying.
He's talking about all this.
So I said a while ago there are two ways for him to do that. He just did it where he's assuming he will always need 8 teams. His bracket will always be 8 teams. And I said the danger of that is, what if your boss comes one day and says, it needs to support 16 teams now? Well, now you have a lot of work to do because you have to copy all these variables, rename them. You have to make your algorithm longer. The cleaner way to do it, which is probably a little bit over his head right now because he's new, is to put everything in a list or multiple lists or maybe even a map. Actually, I wouldn't use a map for this. You'd use lists or arrays, and then you'd have a constant variable that just tracks how many teams are going to be in the bracket. That's what you would do. You'd make it a list or an array. Yes, modularity over simplicity. You should always write your code. At this point, the reason I said it's okay for him to do this is because he needs to learn the syntax. He needs to get used to writing a constructor, writing, loops, what's the scope of variables. He needs to practice those things. Once he's gotten those things down and he can write working code, then he can start writing good code. That's pretty much how everybody goes. I don't want him to write perfect code off the bat because he's not going to get it that fast. Once he understands the Java syntax, how to write things, then I'll teach him how to write things properly. But yes, you would use a modularity. For those who don't know, is make your code like Lego blocks, where each block does something, no matter what the other blocks do. That's modularity. So you want your bracket system to work no matter how many teams are playing. And your code currently does not do that. It only supports 8, which is okay for this because you're just learning. But if you were writing like an actual program to keep track of this for, like the Magic tournament or a StarCraft tournament, if you were writing like a web thing, you'd want to support more than 8. But you done good.
I hear that a lot.
You done good. You probably hear it like that.
It's
I'm
not
Billy from Cushion.
It's not from like a constipated Italian man. What the hell?
All right, well, we're gonna probably play a game or something because I've been going for a while. This video is almost 2 hours long, and this was after the other hour-long video I did, so my voice is like out. So I will most likely do this tomorrow. I'll do actual lessons, and if AJ's with me, maybe he'll do another mini project. But I'm off for tonight, so thank you all for joining me. I hope you all learned something, had fun. I hope I adequately answered your questions and comments. I could probably move this. I will try to be on tomorrow. I probably will. I'm going to try to do this for the rest of the week and see how far we get. So thanks for joining me. Yeah, we're going to stream the game. I don't know what it will be. Probably. We usually just troll League, make people lose. Sometimes we try, but usually not. I don't know. What do you want to do?
I don't know.
Well, we'll
I'm
figure out
probably
what we're doing. I'll stream it. He'll stream it.
something.
His stream is actually type his stream. It's that's his. Oh, I typed a slash in front of it. I typed a slash in front of it, and Twitch was like, I don't recognize that chat command. That's his channel. Yeah, he typed it too. If we play something tonight, both of us will do it. Thanks. I look forward to doing it. I look forward to seeing you guys again. All right. Well, if you're not gonna watch us game, or if we're not gaming, we don't even know